Life can be chaotic. If you're running a retail business, don't let disorganized order fulfillment add to the chaos. Use ShipStation instead. With ShipStation, you never have to worry about shipping and fulfillment again. Whether you're running a business out of your garage or you have multiple warehouses, ShipStation is ideal for every phase of your business's growth. Save time with one login for all your stores and by automating repetitive tasks. Plus, you'll save money with the best shipping rates from global carriers. ShipStation's industry-leading features help you deliver a better customer experience. They'll get accurate and faster shipments along with automated tracking updates with your branding. And with up to 88% off UPS and USPS rates and up to 90% off FedEx rates, ShipStation is the fastest and most affordable way to ship. Calm the chaos. Switch to ShipStation today. Start a free trial at shipstation.com/audio. That's shipstation.com/audio.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with autopay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. Hours at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the ring, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Welcome everyone to this special episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to the All Things Elite Award Show. I promise from the beginning, I am your host, Floyd Johnson. I promise from the beginning we will not keep you too long. We are just going to announce the awards and then the winner of the contest. But we're not announcing the winner of the contest to the end of the show. So if you don't want to hear the show, you probably want to go ahead and skip to the end to hear the contest winner. But hey, dance with us. We won't keep you long. With me today, because it is Sunday, because it is the Lord's Day, it is only appropriate that my co-host for this award show is Jesus. What's up, JR Perez? How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful on this amazing Sunday, January 19th. We're in the midst of NFL playoffs. We have the College Football National Championship game tomorrow and lots of wrestling going on.
So I know y'all are used to Austin being on the show with me, but occasionally we brought to bring in JR as a pinch hitter, and JR is helping me with the award show this year. He's actually gives me a contrarian view a lot of times on some of these things. So I love having him. Thank you, JR, for being with me this Sunday morning. And we're going to send special thoughts and prayers because it's Sunday. We got to send our thoughts and prayers to my boy Austin Sumowitz's Super Bowl dreams. Because the Detroit Lions, the number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs, 15-2, everybody's darling. Everybody loves Dan Campbell. He's about to eat your kneecaps off. Choked. They choked against the rookie quarterback and the Washington Commanders. Oh my God. So there was this video that showed Dan Campbell talking to the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know his name. Talking to the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. What's his name? Kevin O'Connell. And they had just played a game. He said, I'll see you in 2 weeks. They will see each other 2 weeks in Cancun because they on vacation now. Get out of here. If you said Detroit was the best team in the NFL, you were lying. That news to me. So, JR, what do you think about Detroit's choke job before we get into the award show?
You know, I'll say this quickly. A lot of people in as sports fandom, in America, I don't think understand this. In the NFL, in Major League Baseball, in the World Series, in hockey, so on and so forth, it is a miracle to be able to be healthy by the end of the regular season and as you get into the playoffs. Oftentimes, the teams that win the playoffs are just a team that happens to be slightly more healthy. Detroit did an amazing job going through the regular season. They got 15 wins, only lost 2 games, if I'm not mistaken. But their defense was completely demolished by that Washington game. They had so many injuries on that defense. It was just like, it is what it is. Like, it happens all the time. They were a great team. They are a great team, but unfortunately, just sometimes you get when it's, win or go home, it's one game, then injuries make a huge difference, and that's what happened. I think in that game is just that they, it was too much for them to overcome going against a very young and enthusiastic Washington Commander team.
And I will be remiss if I didn't mention, after a 24-day layoff, everybody's like, oh my God, it's 24 days. How are they going to see it? And I guess they forgot who the F my team is. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. Beat Houston again, got rid of them, dismissed them, get them Childs out of here. It was nice to see everybody deciding the refs helped us win the game because, yes, of course, the refs made Houston miss the extra point. The refs made Houston miss the field goal. The refs made Houston give up 7 sacks. That was all on the refs. Hey, them damn refs are powerful. So shout out to my Kansas City Chiefs. First step. We got 3 steps to history. First step complete. So all right, that's enough of that. It's Sunday. Y'all want to hear me preach about no football? This is Awards Sunday. So again, I thank you, JR. We sent out this link roughly a month ago. ATE Awards Show. We sent it out on all our social media platforms, Twitter, Blue Sky, my personal Facebook. JR posted it everywhere. Everybody got out there. So if you didn't get a chance to enter the contest, I am sorry. We posted it as many places as we could. And before we officially start, we just do, I forgot this part, so this is on me. Make sure you're downloading this show on YouTube Music or Apple Podcasts. Please leave a rating and review if you're so inclined. You can also follow us at AT Elite Pod on Twitter and Blue Sky, at Social Suplex on Twitter and Blue Sky, at Austin Sumowitz on Twitter, at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Blue Sky. And JR, do you want to give your socials?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at TGIF Professor. That is TGIF Professor.
Yes, because he loves Friday night television from the 90s. That's what he does. He loves it, TGIF. Or he loves pot stickers. Which one is it?
What? I do love some pot stickers.
No, the restaurant TGI Fridays. That's one of their favorite appetizers is pot stickers.
Oh, so, potato skins and mozzarella sticks from TGI Fridays for me.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're going to get into this award show. We're jumping right on in. Our first award up, I got all my notes to, give a few stats to go along with this. Our first award up is the AEW Breakout Star of the Year. In what we had as the nominees for Breakout Star of the Year, we had Sir Strickland, the Outrunners, Mariah May, Kyle Fletcher, Hologram, Harley Cameron, and Marina Shafir. All right, now we're just going to do the top 3. I'm not going through all the votes. In third place, with 17.1% of the vote, we had Mariah May. In second place, with 21.2% of the vote, we had Kyle Fletcher. And the winner of this, I was always interrupted by Winston growling at me. And the winner of the AEW Breakout Star of the Year with 47.9% of the vote was the first black AEW World Champion, Mr. Swerve Strickland. JR, how do you feel about how the vote turned out?
I think when you look at what Swerve did in 2024, coming in to the previous year into AEW, getting a chance with the tag team titles, but where he was before 2024 and just the massive momentum that he had, and as great as Swerve is, I think also you need to give an assist to Prince Nana because he tied the whole act together, and it really brought that excitement of Swerve where this wasn't just he wasn't just a heel. He could be an over babyface, and getting the opportunity he did, winning the championship at Dynasty and getting a chance to run with the ball. We got a chance to see him a couple of times live, especially you did and All In. But he became a big star for AEW, and he was rewarded for all his hard work by getting that big extension with AEW to make him one of the top highest paid stars in the company. So yeah, I mean, credit to him and also credit to Nana for helping build that act. And I think what we're seeing now in the beginning parts of 2025 is just a continuation of him being a main eventer for AEW for not just right now, but for years to come.
He needs that big contract he has to replace his house. So I don't even think he had the house long enough to have insurance, right? I don't know.
Oh.
Let me ask, JR, was that who you voted for in that category? Do you remember?
Oh, absolutely. Swerve. I think it's where you see when somebody comes from a position of being a tag team competitor, or, I mean, and no disrespect to Swerve as I say this, but he was a mid-carder. And when you jump into that high elevation that he did, where he's now main eventing for the company, I mean, and put him in the position he did, they did for multiple main events and multiple pay-per-views, and as well as being in that headliner spot at All In. I mean, that's extremely significant. I mean, there's not a lot of people in any company that that is able to do what he did.
And I completely agree. He was one of those. He was my pick too, and I didn't know if he was obvious because Mariah May basically was nothing, and then she ended up winning the world title too. So I thought she might win it, and then of course Kyle Fletcher with his run of great matches. I thought there was a good chance he'd win it, but they both had good showings. But hey, Swerve had an amazing year. That's not the first or last time you'll see his name in the top 3 of these moves, but we're going to go ahead and move on. So congratulations, Swerve Strickland, 2024 AEW Breakout Star of the Year. The next one's up is, I didn't know what to name it because this was called, in 2020, the last time we did this was called the AEW Dark MVP, right? Well, AEW Dark doesn't exist anymore. Dark Elevation, they're all gone. So I replaced it with the ROH MVP because I wouldn't call ROH AEW's developmental. I really feel like it should be, but it's more like a second brand. And I wanted to know who everybody thought the MVP of that was. Now, out of all the categories, which I think there's roughly 11, this is the most lopsided category. This is the equivalent to a unanimous MVP or rookie vote, because in third place, with 6.2% of the vote, we had ROH World Champion during this time, Mark Briscoe. In second place, with 7.5% of the vote, we had current ROH Trios and Tag Team Champion Dustin Rhodes. The winner, with 82.9% of the vote. 82.9% of the vote. She is dominating ROH in this vote. She's dominating this vote like she has dominated ROH over the last 2 years. This is your forever champion, the Dominion Overlord, the goddess Athena. JR, 82.9%. Was she your vote? And what do you think of the lopsidedness of this?
I mean, she definitely was, but I think, and I'm going to say this in a different direction, it's not that she didn't deserve it, but when you see how significant, I mean, as Floyd goes through the rest of these awards, you'll see how close it is. There are individuals you will see who will win, who don't even have a significant minority vote of the, based on the pool of talent they have. So for Athena to get 80% is the combination of how great she was on Ring of Honor, but also shows how bad Ring of Honor has been booked in the last year. Ring of Honor, with Athena as being the women's champion, has basically ran that entire weekly show. And in a lot of, I think 2 of the pay-per-views last year, she was in either in the co-main event or main event spot, which is goes back to they're not doing any, like Mark Briscoe and Dustin Rhodes are not on that show on a consistent basis as Athena was. So going into 2025, Tony Khan needs to do a better job booking ROH champions on ROH and not just have one champion carry that entire company. So, I mean, but also shout out to Athena because she's a hell of a talent. And I think we're at the point where people are like, all right, we need to do something with Athena and bring her back to AEW and challenge for some AEW championships.
I am a minion, a self-admitted minion, and she is my minion overlord. So let me go in to say this. The Barbie beaten Athena, she has been the face of ROH. I don't watch ROH as consistently as I used to, but when I tune in, it's because of Athena. When people like Tony Khan, they'll say Tony Khan can't get anybody over or anything like that. He has gotten one person over, Athena. She is the face of that product. That women's title in ROH is more important than any other title in ROH. I would say it's more important than all the other ROH titles combined. So that is how much they've gotten Athena over. Everyone knew she was losing to Billy Stark this year at what's it called? Final Battle. Nope. Beat her 2 years in a row. She got double coded. Okay? Double coded. She ain't finishing her story because Athena's story is the never-ending story. Shout out to Athena. Hope to see you more on Dynamite and Collision. But she's on her world tour beating up all the foreigners before she comes back home to ROH. But yes, congratulations to Athena. Dominance. It was like, and it was pretty much settled 5 days in. Like, I think she was at 100%. I think the first vote for someone else came like 9 days in. It's crazy. I just like jaw dropped. Best on mic. AEW Best on Mic. I'm not going to go through the nominees, but this one was a lot closer than the other ones. Well, this was definitely closer than ROH MVP, but yeah, it was close. And in third place, we had Swerve Strickland with 21.9%. I gotta say this, and I'm not gonna do commentary on each one of the votes, but I thought he did have a very strong year. I thought he stepped up on the mic. I've always thought Swerve was good on the mic. I think he reached up to great, and they need to give him more mic time. Number 2, Hangman Adam Page, 23.3%. Hangman is this. I don't think his boilerplate promos are anything great, but when he is involved in something and giving something he's cared about, I think he's as good as anybody in the company on the mic. And in first place, with probably a shock to no one, MJF with 34.9%. MJF is your best on mic for 2024 AEW. JR, was that your vote? And what do you think?
I apologize. Say the winner one more time.
MJF.
I voted for Hangman, but I think it was in 2024 overall. I think the mic work for talent had kind of dipped. I feel like there was a lot of stagnation in promos. I think there was good promos. I think there was great promos, but like in a one-off, I don't think there was any talent that was consistently great on the mic where it's just like every week they're selling a story that makes you want to believe what they're doing. I think for me, the best, I looked at it as one of the best promos in AEW of the year, which was, I don't know if it was a promo or just mic work or a segment, and that was Hangman torching Swerve's house.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. I have no choice but to agree, because what I like to do is when I'm voting for these things, I like to think of memorable promos for the year. And it used to be I could give you a top 10 list of great promos from AEW. This year, I don't feel like there were a lot, but MJF is always solid. MJF is known for working the mic, so I think that's a lot of the votes here. So congratulations to MJF. I mean, even in what you would say he was, gone a little bit, not necessarily all the way there for MJF, he still carried the show on the mic. He actually took the first few months off after losing his title, and came back all healed up, and he has that great stuff with Ospreay. Ospreay and Willow were on the list because I actually thought they had pretty good years, especially from what they had done before, but they didn't make the top 3. All right, so let's move on to the next category. And the next category we have, if ROH MVP was our most lopsided vote, this was 100% the closest vote. Literally, the person won by 2, the team won, the faction of the year won by 2 votes. All right, so in third place, we actually had a tie at 18.5%, the Don Callis family and the Conglomeration. At number 2, shockingly, they were only a faction for 3-4 months? The Hurt Syndicate at 19.2%. They hurt people, and people like it when they hurt people. And number 1 is probably one of the most polarizing factions in AEW. The leaders, the guys that run the pack, they help house the AEW World Champion and the AEW Trios Champions, the Death Riders, featuring Jon Moxley. And when I say this, the Death Riders beat the Hurt Syndicate by 1 vote. The Hurt Syndicate then beat the Don Callis family in Conglomeration by 2 votes. That's how tight this was. Like 2 more votes in any way. 2 more votes anyway, and the person wins. So, JR, who did you vote for? And what do you think about the winner?
I voted for the Hurt Syndicate. It's one of the things, and this is in complete transparency. I was discussing with Floyd about voting, and I look at voting, different types of voting, whether it's, political elections to things as simple as American Idol and everything in between. And with how close these votes are, and how in some of these areas the people that are winning are not winning with, like I said, a significant amount of the overall pool. I discussed with Floyd, and one of the things that we may try to look into futurely is a ranking system. It's similar to either like Heisman Trophy voting, MVP votings in leagues, or even what some people do. It's like, all right, who's your first choice and who's your second and third choice? And essentially what happens is if your first choice doesn't get the majority of the votes, they kind of get eliminated, and then your vote would go to your second choice if they were elevated to the top. So I think this kind of shows maybe, the team that won was, they won, but did they really win? I don't know if anybody was, I don't think a lot of people are especially right now, are overly enthusiastic with the group that won on TV. I think it shows that they may have won just because they've been on TV for more of a longer period, the 2024 versus the team of the Hurt Syndicate, who had a shorter run because obviously, being newer members to the roster. But I think what the Hurt Syndicate did in their short time was has made a more pronounced impact to the viewers about who they are and what they mean for business for AEW.
My vote in this one was for the patriarchy. I voted for my father, Christian Cage, because, the Death Riders to form, they had to suffocate a guy, right? Hurt Syndicate wasn't around that long. Conglomeration, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. The Don Callis family, had some comings and goings, turns, and they didn't know who was in their group. But the most consistent group of the year, no dissension. They had one common purpose, which was to get Christian the briefcase and the contract. They did it loyally by kill switch, carrying Christian to get the briefcase. Nick Wayne, Mother Wayne, which, upgrades any group like 10%. And then they added Kip Sabian. So the most, cohesive group in the six, I'm all about my faction cohesion, was the patriarchy. They did not make the top three. Honestly, it wasn't there. They weren't very much far because, like I said, the people basically split the vote. But congratulations to the Death Rider. I mean, they got all the belts. That makes sense. But like I said, the Hurt Business or Hurt Syndicate, finishing second place in a year they were barely in the company. I feel like we're going to have a runaway number one for next year, for this year or 2025. All right. Next up, AEW Show of the Year. So again, and I'll remind you, if your show wasn't on here or anything like that, I went by cage match, total scores. The things that are on here are from cage match. These are one of the ones I'm going to go through all the nominees. Revolution, Double or Nothing, Dynasty, All in London, All Out, Wrestle Dream, and Dynamite 248. That was the list. And your winners in third place. We had AEW All Out at 13.7%. And number two, we had AEW All In at 21.9%. And number one, Sting's retirement, AEW Revolution with 50.7%. Sir, what did you vote for? What did you think?
I voted for, of course, the winner was, AEW Revolution. AEW Revolution took place in Greensboro, sold out. It was, if I'm not mistaken, Floyd, I think it was the only event AEW did of the year that sold out. And there was obviously for good reason. It was Sting's retirement match. And it wasn't just an event. It was a celebration. It was a celebration of an icon. It was a celebration of somebody who meant so much to the business of professional wrestling and the fans of professional wrestling. And it went off exactly as it should have. And I think because of that and because of what it meant is why I was selected number one. And I think, in a year, and not just calling like I see it, a down, kind of a little bit of decline in business with AEW, but being able to do what they did with that event and putting that many people into an area of Greensboro, which Greensboro is not Dallas. It is not Miami. It is not New York. It's not LA. It's not necessarily easy to get to Greensboro, and the fact that so many people flocked to Greensboro to see that, I think is a testament to who Sting was as a performer and as a talent in professional wrestling.
Yes, and Revolution was my vote, Sting's retirement match. And yeah, I got to actually attend the show, which was awesome. Yeah, I flew out and drove up to Greensboro. I flew into Raleigh, and then I drove up to Greensboro. It was a good time. Got to see Cash after the show. But 2 Match of the Year nominations came out of that show. When you just think about the overall quality of the show, I still have a little baggie with glass that I picked up from that show. Wasn't supposed to pick it up. I picked it up anyway. And great shows. All in London, happened to be at also, which was great. And I got to go to that one with my wife, so that was even better. And then all out. Honestly, when you see some of the match totals later, you might have think All Out would have got a higher vote. But I think it was just the idea of the Sting retirement match and how perfect that show was. That's how perfect that show was why it ended up winning by a lot. All right. So congratulations. And then the next award is, and there's a reason these two are being announced together, the AEW Moment of the Year. AEW Moment of the Year. I actually didn't put one of the things down on my notes. But in third place, we had Swerve Strickland becoming the first Black AEW champion. I thought that was I happened to be there at AEW Dynasty, and I was very excited about that. Thought Swerve definitely deserved it. They got 13.7% of the vote, and this was another close one. At 19.2% of the vote, we had Hangman burning down Swerve's house with 19.2% of the vote. And 28.8% of your vote, the winner, and pretty much going along with the last one, Sting's retirement match, the moment of the year. Big on, hold on a second. Big on that moment, Sting's retirement match is, I think that might be the best retirement match I've ever seen. I honestly don't, for me personally, I don't think it's close. I did think it is clearly the best retirement match ever done in wrestling because I think Sting's actually going to be retired. Most retirement matches, the person then comes back. I don't think anything would have touched Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair if Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair actually stayed retired. I even would have put Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, the retirement match, if Shawn Michaels stayed retirement. Right now, Sting, greatest retirement match ever, because Sting is actually seems like he's going to stay retired. JR, your thoughts, sir?
My first thought is almost 20% of the people voted for Hangman burning down Swerve's house. I'm like, y'all some evil individuals. But, I mean, again, to echo sentiment, it's Sting. Was in the business for, I believe, 40 years. Worked in the territories, WCW, before that NWA, which became WCW. Did a very, TNA, long time there, small stint in WWE, and obviously finished in AEW. Just meant the world. I mean, he's an icon of the business. But the other thing I will also say as the moment of the year is just how much it just meant. I mean, go back and just, if you get a chance and if you get a little bit of boredom, go look at, type in Sting's retirement, like on any social media site, and see everybody who flocked. And people from all generations, the younger kids to older individuals who probably spent, 50 cents seeing Sting wrestle in the, Mid-South back in the day when he was part of the Blade Runners.
Absolutely. Blade Runner, Sting was my guy, growing up. I love the Blade Runners. I was too young to realize that they were just a knockoff of the Road Warriors. I thought they were cool in their own unique thing. No, but I love Sting. I actually had some great moments with Sting this year, from going to the Hall of Fame to actually being on the flight back from All in London and Sting being on my flight. That was dope. And my wife meeting Sting, and completely unexpected events. And yeah, so, I'm all about this. I'm all about Sting. I wanted him to win everything. All right, so we're moving on to the AEW Men's Match of the Year. Now, I almost held this off to the end, because AEW is the wrestler, the performer's company. So it's almost like this is the most important thing to win in AEW, is the match of the year, because that is what they're known for. But I kept it here and gonna keep Wrestler at the Year at the end. But AEW Match of the Year, and in third place from AEW All Out, we had Swerve versus Hangman in the cage. Yes, so it was at 11.6% of the vote. Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland, AEW All Out 2024. Some people thought it was overly violent. Some people loved it. But, yep, it finished at third place in Match of the Year. Second place at 15.1% is Bryan Danielson versus, who's that guy again? Swerve Strickland, AEW All in London at 15.1%. And in first place, that's a fake drum roll. If it was terrible, yep. 39% of the vote, we had Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay from AEW Dynasty. This does not shock me, because at that time, a lot of people thought Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay might have been the greatest match they've ever seen in their life. I personally did not vote for it as Match of the Year. I voted for a less popular match. If less popular match, we go down to, and it was only at 6.2%. It was Takeshita versus Ospreay at AEW Revolution. I just thought that was that was the best match I saw all last year. But yeah, JR, what did you vote for? What do you think?
I'll be honest, I can't remember who I voted for. Off the top of my head, I don't know why. I can't remember.
At Verizon, anyone can trade in their old phone for a new one on us with Unlimited Ultimate, which means everyone in your family could get a new phone and stay on your family plan, keeping you close.
Hey, Mom, you seen my toothbrush? Yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Oh, maybe too close. Trade in and additional terms apply. See Verizon.com for details.
But I knew it had to be a Will Ospreay match, because I think without a shadow of a doubt, Will Ospreay put on multiple Match of the Year candidates in AEW from the minute he stepped foot. I think what Tony Khan was able to book for Will Ospreay in his first year of AEW was really to showcase the variety of different matches that he can put on with different talent, whether it was Swerve, whether it was Danielson, whether, anybody, that he got in the ring with. You have two guys, Bryan Danielson, that is such a great technical wrestler that there's an award named after him. And I was looking, because is there an award named after even Ospreay?
No.
Okay.
No, there's no award named after Ospreay right
I
now.
was trying to think of like the Observer had like the Will Ospreay High Flyer Award or something like that. But
They might. I don't know all the names like that, but I don't think there's an award named after Will Ospreay yet.
But I mean, at the end of the day, these two, in different ways, are two of the best wrestlers in all of 2024 and for a number of years in the professional wrestling with the styles they bring to the table. So it was a match that you knew as soon as they booked it, it was going to be must-see TV. And I think, it definitely warrants, there's no controversy if it was selected as match of the year.
This is the thing for me. I'm just, when you're getting to this high level match of the year, you do have to be critical, right? You have to, look at it in all the different aspects. And critically, there was something glaring. I didn't like the whole, the selling of the neck thing from Will Ospreay. I mean, I didn't like it. I didn't like stopping the match, having the referees come in. That threw me off on the match, right? Mostly because I saw how he landed, and he landed just fine. You know what I mean? I never thought he was actually in danger. So in this particular case, I wanted to be worked. I wasn't worked, so it took me out of the match. I still think it was an absolute 5-star match. I thought it was an absolute classic match. But when I look at that, I'm looking at the match, to me, that it was flawless. Was like violent and physical and athletic and everything. And that's why I had to catch the Will Ospreay. It was like everything I want in a wrestling match. But Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, if you saw the internet the 2 weeks after, one of the greatest matches everybody had seen. I just know so many people that went back and watched this match, used this award show as a reason to go back and watch that match, because a lot of people saw it as perfection. I have no problem with it. I was lucky enough to be really, really close. I was lucky enough to be really, really close and see the match play out. It was beautiful. I was there with Dave and Rich, and we all just thought it was an amazing match. It shows you who Ospreay is. It shows you who Bryan Danielson is. And it's like, dude, the end of the night we saw Okada win a title, and then it was just like, dude, so much talent in one company, like it's crazy. So winning the match of the year really means something in AEW. So shout out to Danielson and Ospreay. There is a good chance that it's going to be both the Wrestling Observer Award and the Voices of Wrestling Match of the Year, which, as far as in my circle of wrestling fandom, are the highest awards, are the highest award level. I know PWI and all of them give out their awards. Yeah, it ain't nothing compared to the people that I listen to. But, again, that's how I feel because they're in my circle. All right, next award up. The AEW Women's Match of the Year. And this, we got down to 5 matches. And it's funny when you look at the 5 matches, they definitely feature the same people. Because Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander from AEW Full Gear 2024. Mercedes Moné versus Willow Nightingale, AEW Double or Nothing 2024. Chris Statlander versus Willow from All Out. Toni Storm versus Mariah May from All In. Mercedes and Chris from World's End. So Mercedes and Chris were actually on there twice. I wondered about doing that because I thought I might split the vote. So this is how it came out. In third place with 22.6% of the vote. And this one was another close one. We had Toni Storm versus Mariah May at AEW All In London. At number 2, we had Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Moné at AEW World's End at 26.7%. And your winner, terrible drum sound, Chris Statlander versus Willow from AEW All Out with 28.8% of the vote. Again, they only won by, I think it was 3 votes. So it was a very close race. This was this the match I voted for? I don't remember. Which match did you vote for, JR? Do you remember?
I know I voted for Toni Storm and Mariah May at All In.
Oh, okay.
For me, I think it was just the combination of not just the match itself, but the story that they built to it, which I think, and I believe I was on the show. I was a guest on the show when Mariah May did her turn. And you look in the now going on 6 years of AEW when it was founded in 2019 to the present, I still believe it's in the top 3 of the best things that AEW has done was the storyline with Mariah May and Tony Storm. It's just the way it was presented from beginning to, let's say that was the culmination, was Mariah May winning. I will be hard-pressed to name 3 other things that were better than that in the history of AEW because it was just so well done, especially in the women's, especially when you separate, now you look at just the women's division of AEW, it's the best thing they've ever done in my opinion. So that's why I selected it. But Willow and Chris, they had a year-long, essentially, storyline together, 2 different types of matches, 2 different matches, but a lot of times you could have the same talent, have 6 matches, and each match would be different. And, you think, well, splitting the votes is a complete, it's reason to believe it could happen. But sometimes, some matches just hit different than other matches. And some people love, sometimes I love the second match better than the first one. And sometimes I love the first match better than the second one.
I went with Chris Statlander versus Monet at AEW World's End. And I'm going to tell you, it was probably recency bias. I saw it the most recent when I voted, and I thought it was great. And I don't really have, I can't say I don't have time. I don't really have desire to go back and watch a lot of other wrestling. I tell JR all the time I don't watch old wrestling. There's too much new wrestling. So, yeah, I wasn't going back and studying it. I was like, which one impacted me the most when it happened? And it was Monet and Statlander for World's End. I thought their first match was good. I thought this match was great. I really loved Monet versus Willow from Double or Nothing. I honestly wouldn't have had a problem with any of these winning, but it does feel good when the one that you picked ended up winning. Shout out to Mercedes Moné and Chris Statlander. Your match at World's End was AEW's Women's Match of the Year. The next category was probably my favorite category, but admittedly weak year for tag teams in AEW. So we had our AEW Tag Team of the Year, including trios. And I had to include trios because there wasn't a lot of great years in AEW as far as tag teams. So I wanted to add as much as I could on here. And it's funny because I added trios and then none of the trios finished in the top 3. So that's weird, right? So, I added trios. So I figured one would finish in the top 3. But in third place, we had the Outrunners with 17.8% of the vote. I thought they could have won Breakout Act of the Year because they came out like a house of fire. I remember being at a Collision when they first got their shirts, thinking, man, I'll stop by and get a shirt for Collision and just to support the guys. And by the time I got out there, them motherfuckers were sold out. So shout out to the Outrunners, 17.8%, the youngest tag team in AEW. At number 2 is a team that literally only wrestled 2 matches in 2024. Sting and Darby Allin at 19.2%. And number 1, because this is the All Things Elite Award for All Elite Wrestling, it would be the tag team of the Elite, Young Bucks with 27.4% of the vote. Just in case any of you were interested, you probably weren't, but just in case any of you were interested, I was gonna tell the top trios team, and I lost it here. The top trios team was the Bang Bang Gang with 8.9% of the vote. So Switchblade and the Guns were the top trio this year based on this voting, just saying who won it. But the Young Bucks won. I'm almost afraid to ask. JR, what do you think?
I'll keep this short. and I'm not gonna throw this AEW on the bus. Can one wrestling company just please make tag team wrestling significant and learn how to book it where it's a big part, it's part of the storylines and built into the show? Because when you think about it, you invest so much more resources into tag team wrestling by having, instead of a match with 2 guys, you have a match with at least 4, or if it's a trios, 6 men in a ring. So it's like, why not spend some time trying to get this act over and keeping this division significant? I don't even know who I even selected as the tag team or trio, because it's just like, it meant nothing to me in 2024. So I'm hoping in 2025, some company will make tag team and wrestling, and in AEW's case, and trio wrestling significant again.
I voted for FTR because I am who I am, but they didn't deserve to win. They had a down year, and it was admitted. They have cut an interview saying their goal was to try to get other tag teams over during that year and put focus on other teams, and you could tell. So whatever their focus, I understand their focus, but my problem is it didn't yield another top tag team. Even Private Party, the current tag team champions, don't feel like they're in any better spot than they did before they won the tag team championship. They still seem like a mid-card tag team. They're a mid-card tag team that happens to be holding the tag team titles, but they're a mid-card tag team. And I was hoping that we would at least get 1 or 2 tag teams that got elevated from 2024. We didn't get that. I'm going to go back to hoping for 2025. But shout out to the Young Bucks. I mean, they gave Sting, they deserved it based on the performance they gave in the Sting retirement match. I thought their performance with FTR in the cage match and their performance with Private Party were great. It's just like, generally by their standard, it wasn't a great year. It's just because they have set the bar so fucking high for what great tag teams do. So congrats on winning. I'm hoping 2025 is a little bit more competitive. All right, the AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. Our nominees, we had 5. You may have heard their names in the Women's Match of the Year. It was Mercedes Moné, Willow Nightingale, Timeless Toni Storm, completely separate person from the current rookie Toni Storm. I know they have the same name. It's confusing. Chris Statlander and Mariah May. I thought this was going to be much, much closer. But in the third place, we had my girl, Willow Nightingale, 14.4%. Banger after banger after banger after banger. That's what Willow does. Willow is the Sheamus of the AEW women's division. She's going to put on a banger no matter who she's in the ring with. Number 2, the free agent signing, the biggest free agent signing in wrestling history, Mercedes Moné with 15.8% of the vote. With a whopping 55.5% of the vote, literally the second most, I believe that was the second most dominant one in there. Here, it's Timeless Toni Storm, 55% of your vote. She is your AEW's Women's Wrestler of the Year. JR, who'd you vote for?
I voted for Toni Storm as the Woman of the Year, the Timeless Toni Storm.
Yes.
The way she was able to reinvent herself with the Timeless character, she didn't have a good end to that segment of her career in the company that she used to work for prior to AEW. Coming into AEW, there was a lot of there was a lot of fanfare, but then when she got with the Outcast, it didn't hit right. But being able to do what she did with the Timeless character, I think really build the fan momentum. And then at the same time, and you mentioned this with like the tag team championship, but they got Toni over with this character as champion while building up the next champion, which was Mariah May. And that is really, when you look at storytelling in wrestling, is a key fundamental to keeping people interested in the stories. Build up a talent to get the championship, and in the exact same moment, almost, parallel, you're building up the next challenger. And I think when you encompass all that together, that's my vote.
She was the best. I voted for Willow. Willow's my favorite women's wrestler. Willow had an amazing year, TBS championship, all the different matches she was in. She was pretty much the face of the AEW's women's division. Even though Toni Storm was the star, when you talked about going out on media and all that kind of stuff, it was definitely more Willow out there. But in-ring, TV time, what they did, Timeless Tony was probably the most important woman in AEW last year, and that storyline was so big going into All In, and she played the character perfectly. I loved her character work just about as much as I loved anything. I think she is an amazing professional wrestler and definitely deserving of the award. I did not know she would dominate like that, but I thought she did. That is more of the it's talk of how much people are loved, and the storyline she's working with, if it ends the way everybody thinks it's going to end, people are going to go crazy. And last but not least, the piece de la resistance. Oh, it's time for the main event. It is the AEW's Men's Wrestler of the Year. This one was tight until probably the last 3 days. The last 3 days, I was telling JR how tied these two people were. In third place, it was Takeshita with 6.8% because it was dominated by two people. I will tell you, we closed this on Wednesday. The Wednesday before, they were in a deadlock vote for fourth tie. Number two with 32.9% of the vote, we had Swerve Strickland. And then at number one, you could probably guess, because he's probably going to win any Wrestler of the Year award based on performances. He is the assassin, the aerial assassin, Will My God Ospreay, with 42.5% of the vote. And that's what I'm saying. We sent out those last ones like the Wednesday before, like everybody get your votes in, and that's where the separation happened. Until then, they were lockstep. It was Will and Swerve, lockstep. And then I guess a lot of UK people came through or whatever, because Will just kept separating it and separating it and separated, and he pulled it out. I am of the opinion that if you care about in-ring performances, Will Ospreay is your Wrestler of the Year. If you care about your total act with how he stepped up his game cutting promos, his entrances, and the Ospreay thing, I think your Wrestler of the Year is Will Ospreay. So I truly think either way, your Wrestler of the Year should have been 100% at Will Ospreay. So my vote, I honestly thought it was going to be bigger than that. This speaks to the love everyone has and the year Swerve Strickland has. And to me, if anybody from AEW is listening to the show, should remind you that Swerve Strickland should always be in your main event. Will Ospreay should always be in your main event. And Takeshita, you need to elevate him before you lose this man to New Japan. JR, what'd you think?
To me, I apologize. It was down to three talents. It was Will Ospreay, Swerve, and Bryan Danielson. Because when you look at the three talents who had some of the biggest matches, had probably the best storylines and had a lot of momentum, it was those three. Bryan Danielson, we haven't seen since he lost the championship to Moxley, and there was periods of where he may not have been as active in the year as Swerve and Ospreay. So I could see in, him kind of, fans kind of put him to the side. And especially one of the things is, I fully believe this, out of sight, out of mind. When you're voting in January and you haven't seen somebody for 90 days, it's kind of like, you don't think about it, especially when you see the work that Ospreay's been doing on television as well as what Swerve's been doing on television. And I do think you're right. You bring it down to is that Will Ospreay, in my opinion, had the best matches throughout the year in AEW. Whereas Swerve had the best act with a lot of solid and some great matches throughout the year. I don't know who I would have. I can't remember who I picked off the top of my head. I'm pretty confident I picked Ospreay because I looked at the ring work that he had throughout 2024 and the matches that he put on. But I think with either of those three, whether because of what all of them had did, I don't think you can go wrong picking Bryan Danielson, Swerve, or Ospreay.
Yeah, Danielson was in the list, and where did he get? He finished at 5.5%. It was, people were picking between Ospreay and Strickland. It wasn't remotely close after that. I thought Ospreay was great. I thought Strickland was great. I got a little more access and got to talk to Strickland, on a more personal level, thanks to my boy Rich Latta. And dude is just awesome. He's just an awesome human. From the moments that I got to hang around him, he was just a great person, And so I definitely, I had already been rooting for him, but after meeting him, he's like probably one of my favorite wrestlers, if not my favorite wrestler. Just a solid dude, and everything he's done for AEW. If you're looking for impact on AEW, I could see Strickland being one easily. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. And it honestly took that vote because I was like, dude, I thought Will Ospreay was going to get Athena numbers. I really did. And that's what it is. It's called Athena numbers now. When you dominate a poll, it's called getting Athena numbers from now on. I thought he was going to get Athena numbers. He did not get Athena numbers. Shit, he barely got half of what Athena got. I don't know if that was like Athena's competition or Athena, but she dominated. So, the overall MVP of this award is Athena in her dominant performance. But shout out to the assassin Will Ospreay. I don't know how much of a ticket drawing person he is to be, but you put him in a meaningful match anywhere in the country, and I'm going to try to find a way to be there. Because it's him and Strickland. I'm kicking myself. I'm not going to be able to be in Atlanta for Strickland versus Ricochet. Those are just two people. To me, they step up such to a level that they're worth traveling for. Those are people you travel for. I throw Takeshita in that list. And honestly, when Takeshita, Hangman in that list, and when built right, and given a story that matters, I put MJF right up there. So they always deliver on their they deliver on their matches when built to something directly. So shout out to Will Ospreay. I know he took the easy route and the lazy route coming to AEW, but we appreciate him for it. I know he doesn't know. Apparently he doesn't know what the grind is. So no, I'm shout out to Will Ospreay for being there. Those are the list of the awards. We're going to have the moment that most people are waiting for in just a second. But overall, how did you think of the voting? Do you think the vote is a good representative of how AEW as a fan base feels?
The only one would be the trio tag team one. But I think that has more to do with what people feel right now with the AEW World Championship picture instead of the actual what the tag team faction means.
Now, I feel like the voters did what they could with what options they had. It wasn't a great year for tag team wrestling.
But no, and I do think so. But for me, because on the tangent, when I was in college, I was involved in student government, and voting patterns and voting things always was intriguing to me, and I like how, the concept of having a ranking system, and I wonder, basically what it is that what you would do is, if you want someone to be number one, you could do it this way. You go, they're number one, they get like 30 points. If they're number two, you give them 20 points, and at the end, you calculate what's the point. Or you can just do a ranking system. This is 1, 2, and 3, and then at the end, you tally up, the votes, and whoever is the least will drop off, and it kind of recalibrates. But I do think it's sometimes when you go like, well, this person got 20% of the vote, I'm just like, well, man, I don't know. Like, they did technically win because they did get the most votes, but that also means 80% of the people voted against them as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a good representation of my circle, my group. The Social Suplex Discord. The people I'm involved with. I didn't get as much participation from just like random Twitter accounts because I really did want some randos in there. But I thought that was great, and I appreciate everybody that submitted. This will be a living document through the year. I will be updating the nominees and stuff, so it'll be a better, even because I might have missed some things in there, but now since I'll be updating it through the year, it should keep me from missing anything. But I thought I was very happy because, like I said, it came back after 5 years. I'm hoping to do this yearly now, and let's see what happens. So for what all the people that don't listen to this show and may have entered the contest came for, I decided for participation, to give away 2 tickets in the lower level. I just want to make sure I'm not buying you first row seats. Okay, I'm not buying you floor seats. I am not buying you a VIP package. I am just a regular person buying tickets with my own money. So just know this. So before, to make it completely random, I had JR pick between 1 and 5.
For the record, Floyd's just telling me pick numbers. I have no idea why he was asking me.
I wanted it to be random.
Numbers.
No fix was in. This is not a worked contest. I had JR pick a number between 1 and 10. He picked 5. I picked random on the random.org 5 times. That gave everybody in the list. I didn't even take me out. Everybody that voted was in the list. Shit. And I said, okay. So I pressed random 5 times, and I say, JR pick a number between 1 and the amount of people that voted, and he picked a number, and that number was 62, and that goes to Little Jimmy 979@gmail.com. I will be emailing you from the All Things Elite account. Once, I'm going to give the show, put this show up. I'm going to give it about 12 hours for everybody to get a chance to listen to. Then I'm going to email you directly. We're going to work out getting you tickets, getting you a good section so you can go to the show. I have no idea who that is. Little Jimmy 979 could be my wife's email address, and I would have no idea. They like Little Jimmy. I know that about them. So don't email them, okay? Because because I didn't have you really put in any other information. I was like, I didn't realize the flaw in my, in my design. I was like, oh, yeah, I have no idea who this is. So actually, it should have a name. Let me check my Excel spreadsheet here. Oh, let's see. And that would make a life easier if there's actually a name associated with Little Jimmy. Nope. It just says username, not real name. Yeah, I'll definitely have to put real name on there next time. Thank you, Little Jimmy. Like I said, you'll get an email shortly. congratulations. I hope you're able to make it to All In. And as I've stated, once I get the tickets and send them to you, which will happen fairly soon, once I get the tickets, they are your tickets. You can give them away. You can sell them. You can put them on eBay. You can put them on StubHub. I don't care. They're your tickets. You won them. So congratulations on that. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone that listened. I don't think we kept you that long. Yeah, we're right at an hour. Cool. I didn't want it to be too long. Thank you for all that. Thank you for all that listening. Mostly thank you to JR for getting up with me on this Sunday morning and recording the show. Like I said, Sundays, got to talk to Jesus. Got to talk to Jesus. Thank you again. JR, do you have anything else you'd like to say in conclusion for this? Looking forward to 2025?
No, I mean, I will say this quickly, and I know all things lead to proclivity for positivity. Apologize, I have a speech issue, so it's hard for me to say certain words. In 2025, everyone, if you listen to this podcast, obviously you're an AEW fan. And, AEW starting off January with the simulcast on Max. They got the new TV deal, and things are looking up. But one of the things that I would like to see fans do is, really support the company. And I say that because if you are listening to this podcast, you are more than just a normal fan. You really are into, wanting to see the company succeed. And, Floyd and I, we talked a lot about fandom, the different types of fandom that there is across all sports. But, AEW is growing. They're past, a lot of people don't know this, may not know this when it comes to businesses. AEW is just moving on past a startup business. Businesses are considered startups for about the first 5 years. They're just getting out of that. So now, and part of that, I would also say, is they had about 18 months, close to 18 months of the pandemic that also affected them. So as we're going into year 6, and as they're touring with Dynamite, Collision, multiple pay-per-views, is, if you have the means, go out and support the company. This company has some of the best talent, and if not the best roster in professional wrestling. When you see names like Will Ospreay and Takeshita and Moxley and Pac and FTR and the Bucks, and now with the return of Kenny Omega, I'm sorry, there's no reason why there should be only 1,500 fans in the audience. The Cincinnati Dynamite, Maximum Carnage was a heck of a show. They already announced in 3 weeks they're having this blood feud match in Atlanta with Swerve and Ricochet. We're getting to Revolution in LA. We're getting to Double or Nothing coming up. We're pushing All in Texas. All in Texas right now, which is supposed to be this massive stadium show in America, has less people bought tickets than a Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, as somebody who loves wrestling and likes the big events, if you love this company, and again, I'm not saying you should take out a loan, but if you have the means, come to Dallas, come to Arlington, go to All In. We should be able to put 18,000 people easily inside Globe Life Stadium where the Texas Rangers played for this big event. And I don't know if anybody sees this, especially I'm talking to y'all, the Elite fans, the specific ones who love Kenny Omega. Pretty much, we're already getting the hints that we're going to get Omega versus Okada 5 in Texas. So, go out there and support, because this is what we do. We love professional wrestling. We love seeing AEW. We want to see them succeed. So, again, I'm not saying you should take out a loan, but, go out there and support. And for me, it's not the company per se. It's the talent, and they have some of the best talent in the world in that company. And so that's all I want to say quickly on, that's my, I'm not much of I'm not a shield. I'm not a stan, but that's my shield spin for the day.
And everything he said, I agree with. Simply put, buy tickets, buy merch, subscribe to HBO Max. I even said it. If you have a way to watch the show and you're trying to decide between watching it through traditional means or a streaming site, versus HBO Max, pick HBO Max. I think with Warner Brothers Discovery, that's going to weigh the most is seeing traffic to their website. But yeah, everything else JR said is great. I'm looking forward to another year. I'm looking forward to a bigger year. I'm looking forward to more votes next year. I'm looking for more everything. And we will see you next time. So I will leave you how I always leave you. Shout out to my boy Austin. Today will be a better day, brother. Sorry about yesterday. But we just want to thank you for all for voting. Thank you for all participating. Thank you for all listening to the show. I appreciate you. You are amazing. And leave you how I always leave you. Whether it's home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.
What is... Dax, are you?
Tracking all our cars on Carvana Value Tracker on all our devices? Yes, Kristen, yes I am.
Well, I've been looking for my phone for...
In Dax's domain, we see all. So we always know what our cars are worth.
All of them?
All of them. Value surge, trucks up 3.9%.
That's a great offer.
I know. Sell?
Sell.
Track your car's value with Carvana Value Tracker today.